How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Outstanding. Go ahead, shoot.
Silly question, with the.
No silly questions,
How
Courtney.
did you take the field goal in that situation? Just, I know there's 1 second on the clock. Was it just trying to get through practice or at the end of the,
At the end of practice?
yeah?
Yeah, we have in the past. I think that's always going to be coach's decision in the flow of practice and how he wants to do it. So those are always coach's decision. So, and Cairo's off today, so he kicked yesterday a lot.
How does his life change without another kicker there?
Yeah, I mean, really, the way we manage the kickers, obviously you can do more situational stuff when you have two of them. In his life doesn't change a ton because we try to keep his leg fresh. Obviously, when you're 10-year plus veteran, you have to really do a nice job with body maintenance, and he does a good job with that stuff. So he'll just have to kick more in the games right now. That's really what changes for him. Nothing for practice.
So he just goes one day on, one day off.
Well, it just depends what we got. Yeah, but you never. The general rule of thumb is you never kick a kicker or a punter three days in a row. Some people do it, but you're at risk for strains and pulls when you do that. And some people do that, and we do not. And our specialists seem to really love that if they've been other places.
Is there a rule beyond that too? Is it 5 and 7 days, or is the rule of thumb just you can't do it 3 days?
Yeah, it just depends. Like if you got Buffalo coming in, like we have coming in, and you're excited, then you want to tailor down, certain days in preparation for the game. You know what I mean? So it just depends on what you have. You just have to plan it out, and that's a good thing. Like Coach gave us the whole schedule, so we were able to plan their kicking schedule out. So they're well aware of when they have to kick and what they have to do, and they're good at taking care of their bodies.
Richard Cairo was talking about his off-season training and that kind of by the quirks of the field that he was practicing on, he ended up working on a lot of distance stuff. And then we saw him hit from 57, I think it was, on Sunday. Are you seeing a difference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing a guy that's even more dialed in. Obviously, last year is last year, but I do want to give him kudos on breaking the record last year from 50 plus and all of that stuff. But he's still driven. Like, that's not enough for him. So he wanted to kick the ball further with more accuracy. So that's what he worked on this offseason, and good for him. Good 2-minute situation there at the end of the half. Luther catching the ball, getting out of bounds there with 1 second left, and really nice job by Cairo and the whole operation. The protection as well was really good on that one. So the big boys never get credit, but the protection was excellent. And, he knocked that 57-yarder through there, and it probably was good from way more than that, which was really good to see.
How far would it have been good from?
I don't know. You got that track man deal that tells you, but I don't know. I saw at least 4 or 5 more yards on it.
Richard, during that preseason game, we saw Torrey hit kind of like a line drive punt, super far. I'm curious, was that like a 4-iron out of his club, or out of his bag that we haven't seen yet, or is that something where he wants a little more hang time on that one?
Yeah, if you talk to Torrey about it and we've talked at length about it, he wants a little bit more hang time on that. Kind of like the punch you've been seeing in practice. And he's done an outstanding job this camp. I mean, he really has. So he wants that ball a little higher.
I know you're still working through personnel on teams, and the twos played a lot on Sunday, but there were some leaks in the coverage.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see on tape with that?
Yeah, I saw a lot of guys in their first NFL game on the grass. Some performed well, and some didn't perform well. But that's the beauty of preseason. It's an evaluation process, and the players now have lived it. So it's one thing to show them in the offseason, and they're looking at, Blackwell do it, or they're looking at Amon do it, and they say, oh, I would do this in this situation. Now live bullet, speed of the game, now they, experience is the greatest teacher. So, I mean, it's really good lessons, and I think these guys will learn from it. And I'm excited to see who can respond. That's part of the evaluation process. So that's what I'm most excited for, is the teaching progression with these kids and seeing if they can respond and now take what they've learned in the meeting room and apply it to this game.
Coach, was there a conversation that was had with Cairo about how he may be used differently because of how aggressive Ben is, and from the 40, from the 30, where we need you to be able to hit 50 plus, 57, whatever it is, like you said, adding some extra yardage to that kick?
Yeah, I think that was always his mindset. We definitely had a conversation about it just from studying, and playing those guys from afar. knowing what they did. I mean, and Ben's always going to be aggressive. So Cairo's mindset has always got to be, whenever my number is called, no matter what the situation, no matter where the football is, no matter what hash it's on, no matter what time of the game, I got to put it through the uprights. And that's the way I try to wire his mind. So that's how he thinks.
We've seen him at times say, with the previous regime, I don't have this, right? Because the wind is blowing a certain way. Do you feel like he doesn't have that option now? It's gotta be, you gotta go out there and make this kick if you're called upon?
Well, we always gonna put the team in the best situation. So in our stadium, it's inclement weather conditions, and sometimes the wind's blowing extremely hard. And not only it'd be hard for him to make that kick, any kicker in the league. You can just go back and look at the history of the longest field goals in Soldier. It just we're gonna always do what's best for the team, but he's got to be prepared to make big kicks if we need them, whatever we need to win the game. So. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how we talked about it.
Richard, I know you mentioned Blackwell a couple minutes ago. How do you describe his value and all that he does for this team?
Yeah, I mean it's astronomical. I mean his value is huge to me and to the rest of the team. I mean, he made plays on Sunday. He's made plays throughout his career. He's played at a Pro Bowl level. I mean, he got what he deserved. What the front office did for him, and he earned it. And now he's got to prove that he's worked it every single day. Is what I told him. Like, no, it's time to really work now. So I mean, he's a problem for people. And every coordinator we play has a discussion about 39 and how good he is and where you got him from and how did your scouting department find him? How did we miss him? So we just got to keep him. Got to keep him going. We're looking for more from him this year.
What you appreciated most about him and just seeing his journey under your watch?
Yeah, I mean, just the kid. Like, it's not. I mean, you say under my watch, and I appreciate that. But like, I'm blessed to coach him. And he is a very cerebral player that sits in the front row, and he always trying to get better. He's always asking for tape of people with his stature, with his size, that moves that he can use to go out there and get better at. So I just appreciate the genuine love and passion that he has for the process. Like, I want players that love the process. And if you got guys like that and they got a little bit of talent, then it's our job to get them going.
Coach, I was talking to Coach Randall yesterday about the collaboration between you and he in terms of, how many receivers they're going to keep versus what you need on teams, those types of things. Where are you all in that process with all the positions, the linebackers, DBs, whatever? Where are you in that process of starting to figure out, what those numbers might look like when it comes down to the 53 versus, what's needed on teams?
Yeah, first of all, I love Randall. We're blessed to have him as well. The good thing about him is he understands that question you're asking her because he did it. He did it for a living and was a major contributor on teams. So he's always preaching that in his room. And we got some really good candidates in that receiver room right now. I don't know who is going to end up on those final spots. I think a couple of us, a lot obvious. We know DJ's here, like you know what I mean. We all know that Rome's here, but like there are some spots there where there's still some competition, which we're excited to see play out. Over the next 2 weeks.
Richard, Carolina in the preseason used that bouncing kickoff, like the knuckleball, I think is what they were referring to it at. What's the challenge for the fielding team in trying and seeing where it bounces, if it goes out of bounds, if it doesn't, and trying to field that?
Yeah, just to hop on the ball because you never know with the way the football's shaped, like if it's going to bounce inbounds, out of bounds, in the end zone, be lay flat, so you just kind of got to judge it. Obviously, as returners, we want to get to all footballs and try to return everything we can. But we talked about that as, collectively amongst the special teams coaches, and some will do it, some won't do it, but we don't want an ugly football play for the kickoff. We want the foot back in the game. We want the ball in the returner's hands, and we want to make plays. Everybody's going to use competitive plays and advantages, competitive advantages to try to do certain things, but we don't want the ball kicked not in the landing zone. We don't want to see dead plays, ceremonial plays. We want to see plays with ball on the ground and people scrumming for the ball. We want to see the returner have the ball in their hands, our favorite players that provide the most excitement for the game, go make plays and see if we can tackle. That's what I would. That's what I like to see. Put the ball in somebody's hands and let's see who can tackle and who can't tackle.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks.